In this tutorial, we're going to be solving absolute value inequalities using greater than or equal to. Here I have an example of an absolute value inequality, and this is a greater than or equal to. The first thing you want to do is isolate the absolute value if it's not already isolated, and in this case this one is. We know there are two numbers that have an absolute value of 17. One would be positive 17 and the other negative 17. So we'll be writing our inequality two ways. We first remove the absolute value and write it exactly as it is. Next, we write it a second time, only this time we change the direction of the inequality sign and change the sign of the number. You can see that here I've reversed the inequality to less than or equal to, and I've changed my number to negative 17. Now we want to solve each of the inequalities. First, we add 2 to both sides to get the term containing x by itself. Now we divide both sides by 9 to isolate x. Here is our first solution. X is greater than or equal to 19/9. Now we solve the second inequality. First, add 2 to both sides to isolate the term containing x. Now divide both sides by 9. Remember to reduce fractions. They can be left improper, but just make sure they're reduced as far as they'll go in improper form. Here we have our second solution. X is less than or equal to negative 5/3. We can write our solutions in both set builder notation and interval notation. For set builder notation, we open a brace, write our variable, and then draw a straight line. Then we write our two solutions. This is our set builder notation. X is greater than or equal to 19/9, or x is less than or equal to negative 5/3. For our interval notation, let's look at the number line. Here is our number line with negative infinity at the left end. This is as far as numbers go in a negative direction, and positive infinity at the right end. This is as far as numbers go in a positive direction. As you can see, I've estimated where negative 5/3 and 19/9 are located. Now let's graph our first part. Let's graph x is greater than or equal to 19/9. Let's graph this in green. 19/9 is included, so this uses a bracket and goes to positive infinity. Let's graph our next one in purple. Negative 5/3 is included, so this graph will use brackets and go to negative infinity. To write our interval notation, we look at the number line from left to right. Our set begins at negative infinity and goes up to negative 5/3 and includes it. Infinity always uses a parentheses. Negative 5/3 is included, so we use a bracket. But we also have another graph. So we have a union. We begin at 19/9 and include it, so we use a bracket, and we go to positive infinity. Here you have our interval notation. When solving an absolute value inequality, you can always put in the solutions, and one of them will give you negative 17 inside the absolute value, and the other will give you positive 17, because both of these have an absolute value of 17.